Welcome to Silent Stories Updates, where real-life tales of courage, justice, and redemption come to life. If you love stories that make you feel, think, and inspire you to stand tall no matter how hard life gets, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned till the end. Now, let's dive into today's story. HOA Karen stormed into my valley cabin while I was meeting the State Attorney General. It was supposed to be one of the most important mornings of my life. The sky above the valley was streaked with soft gold, the kind of morning that feels calm before something big happens. My cabin sat quietly at the edge of the woods, surrounded by tall pine trees that whispered with every breeze. After months of fights, stress, and endless paperwork, today was the day I'd finally get the chance to expose the corrupt HOA that had been tormenting not just me, but nearly every homeowner in the area. Inside my cabin, I was sitting across from the State Attorney General himself. The air was heavy with anticipation. Documents were spread across my wooden table: letters, invoices, photographs, proof of every unlawful action the HOA had taken. I was nervous, but hopeful. This meeting was my chance to bring justice to an entire community. The Attorney General adjusted his glasses, looked through a few papers, and nodded. "You've built quite the case here, Mark," he said calmly. "If what you're saying checks out, this could lead to serious legal consequences for the whole leadership." Before I could respond, a sound shattered the peace of the valley: the loud, angry slam of my front door flying open. I turned, startled, as a familiar voice cut through the air like a knife. "What do you think you're doing, Mark?" Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of the HOA. Her presence was like a storm rolling in. She was dressed in her usual pristine outfit, her expression sharp enough to cut glass, and her heels clicked aggressively on my wooden floor. She stormed straight into the cabin like she owned the place. "You can't just go behind the HOA's back and have secret meetings about our business," she barked, her voice echoing off the walls. The Attorney General looked up slowly, clearly unimpressed. "And you are?" he asked. "I'm the HOA president," she snapped. "And this man has been stirring up trouble for months. He doesn't speak for the community." I stood up, trying to keep my voice steady. "Karen, this is my property. You have no right to be here. You need to leave." She turned on me, her face twisting in anger. "Don't tell me what I can and can't do, Mark. Everything in this valley falls under our standards. You've been violating them from day one with your unauthorized construction and your so-called community complaints." The Attorney General's expression hardened. "Ma'am, this is an official state meeting. You're trespassing on private property." Her voice faltered for a moment. She tried to recover, putting on a fake smile. "Oh, I didn't realize. I just wanted to make sure things were in order." I clenched my fists at my sides. In order. That was Karen's favorite phrase. Everything she did: harassing neighbors, finding them for ridiculous reasons, inspecting people's gardens without warning. She justified it all under that phrase, order. But really, it was control. When she finally left, slamming the door behind her, the Attorney General looked at me with a small smile. "Well," he said, "I think we've just witnessed the problem firsthand." That moment gave me hope. For once, someone in power had seen the truth with their own eyes. I spent the next hour explaining everything: how the HOA had been charging illegal fees, targeting certain residents, and threatening anyone who questioned their authority. The Attorney General listened intently, taking notes, asking sharp questions. When we finished, he said something I'll never forget. "Mark, you've done everything right. This isn't just an HOA issue anymore. It's a case of abuse of power. We'll be opening a formal investigation for the first time in a long time." I felt like the nightmare might finally end, but Karen wasn't done. 2 days later, I drove back to my cabin after running errands in town. I slowed to a stop when I saw a bright red notice nailed to my door. "Unsafe structure condemned." My heart dropped. Taped across my front steps was yellow caution tape. The notice was stamped with a seal that looked official, but something about it felt off. I leaned closer and froze when I saw the signature at the bottom. Karen L. Daniels, HOA chairperson. She had forged a county document. I felt a rush of anger, followed by disbelief. The HOA had no jurisdiction here. My property was outside the boundary lines. But Karen didn't care about boundaries. She cared about control. She wanted to send me a message back off or lose everything. I called the Attorney General's office right away. Within an hour, the state investigators arrived at my property. They photographed the forged notice, removed the fake seal, and listened carefully as I explained what had happened. They told me that more complaints had come in from my neighborhood. Other residents were stepping forward with their own stories, threats, fake fines, and intimidation tactics. It wasn't just me anymore. It was everyone. Weeks passed as the investigation unfolded. Karen tried everything to maintain her grip. She held emergency community meetings, spreading lies about me. She claimed I was suing the HOA to destroy the community. She even posted flyers around town calling me a danger to the neighborhood. But the more she spoke, the more people saw through her. The lies were starting to unravel. Then came the day of the hearing. The county hall was packed. Every seat was filled with residents, reporters, and officials. I sat in the front row next to my attorney, hands clasped tightly, heart racing. Across the room, Karen sat with her chin high, pretending to be calm, though her eyes betrayed the fear underneath. The Attorney General stood and began his presentation. One by one, he revealed every piece of evidence: the forged documents, the illegal fines, the emails where Karen ordered her board members to target problem homeowners. Then, on the large screen behind him, a photo appeared: Karen storming into my cabin during our meeting, her face twisted in rage. The entire room gasped. When Karen tried to defend herself, her words fell apart. She blamed her assistant, then the county, then even the homeowners themselves. But it was too late. The truth was laid bare for everyone to see. By the time the hearing ended, the verdict was clear. The HOA was dissolved. Karen was removed from her position and charged with fraud, harassment, and misuse of authority. The crowd erupted in relief. People clapped, some even cried. Years of fear and silence had finally come to an end after the hearing. Dozens of neighbors approached me. Some apologized for not speaking up sooner. Others just thanked me. "You stood up when no one else could," one woman said. "You gave us our home back." That night, I returned to my cabin. The red notice was gone. The tape had been cleared. For the first time in months, the place felt like home again. I sat on my porch as the sun dipped behind the mountains, the valley glowing in soft orange light. The quiet felt different now. It wasn't isolation, it was peace. I thought about everything that had happened. How close I came to giving up. How many nights I had doubted myself. But through it all, I learned something powerful. Standing up for what's right isn't just about winning. It's about refusing to let fear define your life, because sometimes the most important battles aren't fought in courts or community halls, they're fought within ourselves. Against the voice that says, "It's not worth it," against the pressure to stay silent. When you choose to speak up, even when it's hard, even when people try to break you down, you reclaim your power. As I watched the stars appear one by one in the night sky, I smiled for the first time in what felt like forever. The valley was mine again, not because I won a legal fight, but because I never let them take my voice. So if you're ever in a situation where someone's trying to control you, silence you, or convince you that your truth doesn't matter, remember this story. Remember that no one, no matter how powerful they seem, can take away your right to stand tall. This is Mark's story, a story of courage, resilience, and justice. And it reminds us all that sometimes even the smallest voices can bring down the loudest tyrants. Thank you for watching Silent Stories Updates. If this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you of your own strength, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful truth stories every week. And remember, silence isn't weakness. It's just the calm before you speak your truth.